Good evening, Australia. Welcome to the platform. I'm Michael Kazilny. A great show coming up and some really exciting and fun guests. Our first guest will be is an Aussie icon from Wogboy and, of course, Underbelly. His name is Tony Nick. He'll be joining us very shortly. I'm going to introduce you to our roving reporter, Togsy. He's got some exciting interviews coming up. Some fun and games with Warwick Kappa. Rosie will be bringing a special guest. And to finish off the platform tonight, we've got international singing sensation Chloe Maggs. But let's have a sneak preview before we get the great man on the couch, Tony from Wogboys.
I mean, look at this man. He sacrificed his health for the service of this country, and you cut off his disability pension. I am disgusted.
What sacrifice to the country? He was a waiter.
Yeah, but what a waiter. When somebody ordered a cafe latte, his motto was, better sooner than latte.
And so as part of your recuperation, your doctor recommended a trip to Greece.
I needed the sun.
Hey, he needed the sun.
And obviously the exercise.
Someone kicked the ball up the tree, and we were having a barbecue, and someone had to bring the goat, a big goat. That's my mother, my sister, and my sister's sister.
Mr. Papadopoulos, would you like to see the rest of the photos that we took of you and your relatives on that night?
Great memories?
From Wogboy, yeah, fantastic memories. It was a fun comedy to do. Everyone was a lot of fun, a lot of larrikins on set.
How did a bloke who grew up in the western suburbs all of a sudden become a superstar movie actor? How did that, tell me about the story.
Well, look, it was, drama was something that I enjoyed in high school. I had a choice.
Which high school?
Ardoch Secondary back then.
Where was that?
Eastern Kilda.
Oh, you're down that way.
Yeah, so I had a choice. Do I go, I wanted to be a chef, but I decided I'd
What
love
did
drama.
Mum and Dad do?
Dad was at Telecom. Back then I think it was called PMG. And Mum, nothing. No, she didn't work. She was a good Greek house mum, lots of cooking and stuff.
So you weren't one of those NIDA graduates, you...
No, yeah, I went from high school, I went into Paran, into a place called Rusden, which was one of the Victoria's better courses there, in line with VCA, and then I lectured there, and I was a producer and director. And then, I was off to Greece. I won a travel award to go and work with the National Theatre Company, but came back to do a film called Head On with Anna Kokinos directing and Alex Demetriadis. And then that sort of got the acting bug going again. And so
Tony,
from there it sort of went,
Born and raised in Melbourne?
Yep, yeah.
Greek background?
Both parents are from Greece, came out as young teenagers, met each other, fell in love. And
No bullying at school in those days?
Oh, yeah.
You weren't called a wog, like I was?
Look, I was, but grew up with 4 brothers.
You had a fight?
It was, it was unwise to do so, but those that sort of chose
Tell
to
me
slam it.
about the first role.
My first ever role. Look, TV, I think it was the one that I do remember. It wasn't my very first. Was Blue Heelers, and I was playing a cabbie, and I had to eat a pie while I was waiting for the passenger, and I stupidly, had 2 chunks out of the pie, and of course, there's a thing called continuity. And so, I think 10 or 12 takes, I think I had 10 pies that day. And then they introduced the spit bucket, which I didn't know about, and that wasn't until I'd eaten 5 pies, yeah.
Tell us something that people don't know about you.
What don't they know about me? That I'm a Capricorn? No. That I'm a director. I also write, produce, and train actors, train directors.
What are the goals for the great man for 2018?
Well, I've got 2 films to get through, which I'm acting in. One in Sydney, one in Tas. And if the other one comes through, that'll be in Russia, close to your parts. That's all about Zionists. Can
I ask you something else, please?
Yeah.
How's your love life? And as a super famous actor, do you pick up lots of women?
I do
You
all right.
said
I
ask
do
me
all right. I
anything,
do all right.
Tony, Nick.
Yeah, I do all right. Yeah. But I'm, not at the moment because I'm actually sort of commit.
You're doing what my clients do.
making
No
me blush
comment.
now. No.
You're saying no comment. My memory's exhausted.
Look, I've never married,
No.
so I've had a wonderful life.
Terrific.
But I do have a son. Yeah.
Terrific. And now Underbelly. That's that was an exciting time.
Yeah, Underbelly was when it first came out. What they didn't realise at the time, that the scripts that they'd written, they thought that they had clearance to do so, and was really interesting because you'd be on set and there'd be lawyers back and forth changing scripts almost as you're about to do the take, because they didn't realise the legal ramifications of what they were doing, because some of these alleged criminals were still waiting sentencing, still waiting to, they weren't necessarily guilty, but yet, in the scripts, we were mentioning names, so names had to be changed. It was.
We all saw you on Underbelly. You did a fantastic job. But for some of the viewers, younger viewers, can you describe your role?
Well, I did the first one where I played Veneman's dad and Andy Veneman, and then I did the last one where I played Mock Bell's best mate. So it depends on which one.
Well, they're both.
The Mock Bell best mate was it was the character that helped him get onto the boat and off to Greece. That was a lot of fun. We're filming at 10 a.m. in the morning with strippers, and then pretending we're drinking scotch. It was all that.
Did you
very hard to do.
Before you were filming, did you run around like like one of the good, one of the crooks there, like?
Try what?
When you play a role, you get into that sort of mindset. Some people stay there for a while. Did you? Were you a tough guy after you finish? Or did you go back to your kind-hearted?
No, as an actor, you sort of like, as you get along, you realise, okay, so it's work. So for me, it's easy to switch it on and switch it off. But there were times, when I was younger, sort of going through that you didn't realise, I'm still in character. Like I need to get out of it.
Tony, Nick, let's have a quick look at the film clip from Underbelly. Cool.
Hey, back to work.
Yeah.
Now what time is over?
That's what's going on.
Hey.
Thanks. Yeah, but I'm catching up with Dino first.
I thought you were out of the drug law.
I am, but we're still mates.
Oh, PK and Dino.
Yeah, it's not like the old days.
Oh, good to see. I knew you'd settle down sometime. Hey, nice car outside.
Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it?
Take care of it.
Yeah.
If they trust you, look after
Dad,
it.
I do, all right?
You home for tea?
No, actually, I'm not late again. There's something in the fridge for me?
Yeah, just so long as you promise me it'll get eaten, okay?
Okay, Mama, promise. Yeah. Yeah, buddy, I'll be there soon.
Tough guys, Tony. Tough guy.
Yeah, look, Damien Walsh-Hulling, who plays Veneman, was someone I've known since he was 18, and even taught him at college for a year, and he's a lovely guy, and he, he's someone that really got into the role of playing Veneman, where it's like his preparation each day, just to see, acting's not all glamorous, just to get all those tats on. I think he was in like 2 hours before everyone else.
When you were filming, did you sort of go out as a group and go out sometimes for dinner or something, count a meal, and a couple of beers, and did people then look at you, go, tough guys?
No, they'd say, oh, there's those actors.
Yeah?
It's funny because sometimes when people recognise, like if they recognise me and they sort of recognise me from something, they're either too afraid to come up and talk to me, or they'll just come and barge in your face and take selfies or take photos. You get one of the two reactions, or you can see them staring and talking and so forth. So, but it's. And
to get into that role, Tony, did you study much about the character, or?
Look, my philosophy or approach in acting is I teach it as well. So I've got my own way in.
Technique.
So look, I want to know about the backstory of the character and get an understanding of what sort of person they are. But at the end of the day, once you've got the story inside, it's very much about being impulsive and instinctual in the scene. So you're working with the people in the room with you and reacting off them, rather than getting into my own little world and just doing my own performance. It's not. I don't see that as interesting acting. So.
And Tony, do you prefer acting or being behind the scenes and producing, now that you've got all this experience over the last 35 years?
Do you know, I do like the directing side, and I do. It's equal, the directing and the acting. When I'm working with let's say a frustrating director, I prefer the directing side, and You know, because you sort of, you know, you can't help but see the way you want something to go, and you sort of get frustrated. But, you know, they're equal, so it'd be balanced. So, but I love working with, you know, emerging people as well, like you know, directing the stuff at VCA with the graduates there and working on their show reels.
With your years of experience. Tony Dick, once again, thank you for coming on the platform. We'll have you on very shortly after your next movie, but thanks very much. And thank you very much for watching. Coming up next, the great man Warwick Kappa with Warwick's World.